Hello, everybody. Welcome to Liv's Library. This is a special episode, kind of a crazy episode, but we're going to get started. I am just going to go share all of the things on the Facebooks and the Twitters and the YouTubes and everything because you know the drill. I need people to watch this thing, so. All right, getting ready to pull things up. Yay. Woot. Okay. So much fun, you guys. I love doing podcasts, and I am ready to get started. Welcome, everybody, to the podcast. Woo! I am so excited to be here. And as you may notice, I am currently on the wrong side of the lamp. I'm normally on the right side, and today I'm on the left side, and I am all by my lonesome. I don't have anyone here sitting next to me. There is only one chair today, which is kind of sad for me, and I will explain a little more about that. I'm just gonna try and do my best. I'll explain as it goes. Just working things out, working the kinks out, and making sure that everything works out the way that you want. All right, so we're gonna get started. I am the only host today, so that is what is gonna happen. I am just gonna quickly make sure that this is being shared all over the social medias. And as soon as it is being loaded, then we'll go. Okay, so the plan. I don't know if it's live on Twitter. I'm trying to figure that out right now because it just sometimes doesn't want to work. Okay, we are live on the YouTubes, which is good. Welcome, everybody. It's quite delayed when I do these ones, so that is just great for me. I don't mind too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask a couple questions to myself in a little bit, and then I'll get into the reason why I am alone and kind of what is happening with me. So first of all, you will notice that I am in the same location. I'm in the same corner, and I'm still in the same library, which is awesome. I absolutely love it here. It's a great place. It's one of the reasons why I'm hosting a podcast here, because it just makes me happy. I do this podcast because it's something I love to do. It's an excuse to be able to have an hour-long conversation with a person, to be able to learn new things, and to be able to share things that I've been learning as well. If that benefits other people, then that is great. And that is, what I was hoping with this podcast. But either way, that's just kind of how it works. I apologize. I'm texting someone. I shouldn't be texting someone on a live stream and during a podcast, but it is a special circumstance, as this is a special episode. You'll notice that it also says special guest rather than just saying with so-and-so, because we may or may not have a special guest today, and I just wanted to make sure that that was included in there. Okay, so the topic for today's conversation is mistakes, and it is titled Mistakes because I have made a lot of mistakes in the recent past, and it's quite frustrating to me that that has been the case. But at the same time, it is still something that has been happening in my life, and I can handle it. I don't know why it's large screen. So that's, something that I've been dealing with, and that is why I'm currently in this corner. So I am trying to figure out whether or not I am going to have my co-host with me today, my special guest, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about my special guest. Oh, no, cancel. No, delete that. I'm sorry, you guys. It's a little bit off kilter today. I'm currently in Utah, which is where I live, which is awesome. I love Utah. But if those of you that were watching last week are back again, I shouldn't be in Utah. I should be in Germany. So that's fun. And I'm going to explain why I'm not currently in Germany. So fun. So one of the things that happened to me this weekend, and probably the most traumatic thing that happened to me this weekend, was my losing my passport. I don't know if any of you have been in a situation where you lose a passport before, but that's what happened to me. I lost my passport, and not only did I lose my passport, but I also didn't tell the person that I was meeting in Germany that until probably 12 hours before I was supposed to leave. Actually, less time than that. I told him about 3 a.m. and I was supposed to leave at 11. So what is that, like 8 hours? Pretty much what happened, I was in my room and I was getting ready. I was packing things up and I went to go pull my passport from the shelf and it was not there. And I panicked and I got really worried. And I probably stayed up all night long Friday night looking for my passport, and it was nowhere to be found. And I had to go to work the next day, so I went to work, panicked and really, really concerned about what was going to happen. And I came back Saturday night and started ransacking everything. I literally turned every article of clothing, every piece of paper I went through at least 5 times. Well, at least 3 times. Some places I went 4 and 5 times. It was quite an ordeal and very, very frustrating to me. And I just didn't know what to do. It was at 3 a.m. that I finally let Kevin know. And then it wasn't until 8:30 a.m. after I was supposed to have left for the airport and I was going to be late at that point. I knew for sure I wasn't going, that I canceled my flight and started accepting the fact that I wasn't going to go to Germany like I was planning on. And I posted on Facebook a couple things and I was heartbroken. I was so sad. I had been crying off and on since Friday when I first couldn't find it. And it was just so heartbreaking. And it was all my fault because I should have checked where my passport was sooner. And it was very, very sad for me. So without further ado, I'm going to welcome our guest. Well, he's currently, hello, are you on video? There we are. Hello. I've been talking to the camera and to everybody, and I'm going to introduce you now. Just so you guys are aware, the audio that you heard at the beginning of the video was some beloved audio that we recorded this morning, or this morning my time, last night his time, to see if Skype would pick up enough audio to actually record for the podcast. And lo and behold, he didn't know I was going to use the audio, and I wasn't sure if I was going to use it, but I ended up using it. It was a great little audio. I loved it. So that is only for the audio listeners. Sorry, video users. I wasn't able to add it to this one. But I'm going to introduce you to the one, the only, Kevin Miller. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Yay.
Design. Old.
This is Kevin. He is the person that I was actually, I'm going to hold you up so you can be seen in the camera. This is Kevin, and he was the person I was actually going to be visiting in Germany. I was so excited to go and visit him. I have some ancestry that goes back to Germany, so I was maybe going to go see some of the places there, or, just kind of live in a country for 2 weeks that my ancestors came from. But due to the lost passport that I was just telling you the story about, that didn't happen. And you know what? It's really lucky that I didn't start crying during that story because it's still very fresh, and I still am very, very heartbroken. Talking to Kevin just this morning, Utah time, last night, Germany time, we both were very heartbroken about the inability to go on that trip. Kevin, what are some thoughts that you have regarding just the trip? I have a couple questions to ask you, but first, I was talking a little bit about the cancellation of the trip. So what are some thoughts that you had regarding that?
Well, couple things I've learned in planning this trip. One, I come to appreciate every family vacation my mother had ever planned for us, because that was a lot of stress. There was a lot of planning involved. I didn't think it would be actually that hard. So there's that. And then the second one was, I live in Germany and I had no idea what to do or where to go. So I had to actually do some research. So I became not an uncrippled swine anymore. So there's that.
That's awesome. Okay, so Kevin, I'm going to turn you around so you can see me really quick while we are recording this particular part of the podcast. At the beginning of the podcast, for all of my guests, I do have a couple questions that I ask. So I'm going to ask you these questions, and I'm going to make sure that the audio listeners can hear you. So here are the questions. It's kind of rapid fire, speed round, so make sure that you answer quick, and we'll see how this goes, okay? What is your favorite quote?
If you aim to make a person's week and fail, don't worry, because you've made more than their day.
Aww, I love that. The feels. Okay. Do you have a current favorite song?
Jet Lag by Simple Plan. As cheesy it sounds.
Yeah. I would say that song is very appropriate. All right. What is a unique fact about yourself that I maybe don't know?
Fact. I draw.
You do draw. I learned this today.
No, she did not. She was surprised. It was glorious.
Yep. I didn't know this. I thought I did. I thought I knew things, and then I learned that I don't know things. Okay. Okay, this is going to be kind of difficult. I've got to hold you up to the camera, and then you have to think fast, okay? Are you ready for this one?
4 in the morning? All right, cool.
Okay. You ready? Oh, gosh. Make a funny face. Okay, this is for the audio listeners. Make your favorite animal noise. A Wookiee? Really?
I'm a nerd. Okay, that's an animal.
In some Star Wars lore, I don't know if Wookiees would be appreciative of being called animals.
So, here's a fun fact. Daylight savings time is my actual alarm to get up, by the way. So I'm sorry I'm late.
You're fine. No worries. All right, so I've got a couple more for you. You ready? What is your favorite cheese?
Cheddar. They don't have much here, cheddar ways. We only have the Irish cheddar, where it's only 4 slices, 4 euros. So there's that, and it makes me sad.
That was sad.
Delicacy.
Okay, and then what's your favorite cereal?
Cereal? What are they called? The oh, come on, my brain just died. Krispies.
The Rice Krispies?
Yeah, the Rice. Is it the Rice Krispies? No, sorry, Captain Crunch. That's what it was. That's what it's called. The little pebble thingies.
Well, there you go. So you like the Fruity Pebbles.
Yeah.
Okay, very nice. Okay, here's another question for you. Do you have a book that you are currently reading that you are really enjoying?
Called The Worded Man by Brent Weeks, and it has war, politics, sex, all what you could ever ask for in a book. You're fighting, the guy's fighting demons, and without trying to spoil too much of the plot, it's very interesting, and he has to run around drawing runes, making sure that he survives in a harsh world. So yeah.
Well, that's cool. That's very cool. Okay, so here's going to be a harder question for you. But do you have any way that you could tie in that particular book with the topic of our conversation this evening, which is mistakes?
Not necessarily. It's mistakes. So many stories. I don't know where to start. Kind of a stretch, but in the book itself, there is a chapter where they're talking about how he's learning how to draw wards, and he messes up a particular ward, and it backfires on him. And I have a story where mistakes were made when I think it was that's 16 when you go on your first LDS singles dance. Is that 16 or is that 18? I don't remember. It was a singles dance, and I went with. Oh no, it wasn't a singles dance. It was a church dance. My bad. And it was with a bunch of kids that I didn't. Normally didn't go to church, and one of them, he thought it was a good idea to bring bacon mints. Yes, bacon mints. And he just, had a handful, and what kid doesn't want to have bacon? So me being the very foolish, naive person that I was, I took a couple bacon mints and then had bacon breath as I went to this dance, and couldn't figure out why anybody wouldn't want to dance with me. And so it took the tin, and I offered it to a couple people, and I was able to get a date. So yeah, mistakes were made. And when I actually finally did get somebody to dance, was so intent trying to get to actually show off my dancing skills, I managed to I slipped, and the combination of sweaty hands and being a lanky teenager, I flung her across the room on accident, and she went sliding into one of those fold-out tables, and the was open, and the cooler fell down on her. She had a white dress on. She looked like she bathed the blood of her enemies.
Oh my god!
So she's running around like she has this red stain on her dress. It's all over her. The bishop comes flying out the door because he heard a huge bang. People are laughing. I'm standing in the middle of it, and there's like a huge light that's shining directly on me like a bad movie. Mistakes were made.
Oh, that's great.
That was my story.
I like that story. That's a great story. I think one of the reasons, I was kind of telling everyone, one of the reasons why I decided to do this particular podcast and the topic was mistakes is due to the fact that I made the mistake of not double and triple and quadruple checking my passport location. couple other mistakes that I made in this whole travel debacle was just purchasing my ticket way too late. I purchased my plane ticket about 3 weeks ago, and that was kind of stupid. If you're going to plan a trip and you want to go on said trip, the best time to purchase a flight is actually going to be like 60 days in advance, because that's when it's about the cheapest, apparently. So that was very stupid of me to purchase a ticket so late. And it made the ticket go way, way more expensive, which means my losing my passport lost me more money because I purchased the ticket so late. So that was a very large mistake that I made that cost me dearly. Kevin, can you think of any particular travel mistakes that you have made?
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty. Not telling the people who are picking me up at the airport when and where I'm going to be terminal-wise. That was fun. Going to a different country where you don't actually have phone access. Nowadays, smartphone, you connect to the Wi-Fi and then you're actually good to go. But back then, didn't tell who and when you're going to be picked up by. It's becomes a problem.
Yeah, a little bit. What's a weird travel story? I mean, this podcast is not just travel related, but just due to the fact that that's kind of what my mind is currently on. What's a weird travel story that you've kind of had issues with, whether it was a weird debacle, something bizarre just happened, or you made a mistake that cost dearly?
Well, none come to mind as far as mistakes go. Let's see. There was a time where I was a little bit bigger, and they wanted me to purchase an extra seat because I had so much love to give around.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah, there was that, and then and at first I thought they were trying to mess with me, and hey, we want to get money out of this guy. No, it turns out that the guy directly before me had the same problem, and so we ended up being cuddle buddies on that plane. I'm just gonna say the sweat that I had was not mine.
Oh my gosh!
And that was back when they allowed chew on the plane, and he was spitting in a plastic cup the entire trip.
Oh, gross.
So I had this weird, musky, sweat, chewy tobacco sweat smell on me as I got off the plane.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Joshua and I are dear friends to this day.
Oh, that sounds like a great story. Mistake made by somebody else, then.
Yeah, I made the mistake of, I'm going to stick to the man. I'm not going to find no seat. I got rights. Nope.
Oh, gosh. I'm sorry.
Stories. Stories are fun to tell.
Yeah, you definitely have stories to tell now. Okay, so the biggest thing that I wanted to talk about on this particular episode, the reason why I named it Mistakes, and the reason why I decided to have Kevin on, even though he's clear the heck in Germany. Thank you for waking up at, is it 4 o'clock in the morning?
It is 4:30 now in the morning, yes.
Oh my gosh. Do you go back an hour?
Yeah, when you guys like savings time, it goes back an hour. Is it an hour or is it forward an hour? Yeah.
Oh, wait. You don't have daylight savings time, but because we have daylight savings time, it threw it off. Oh my gosh, I feel so bad.
See, that was my alarm right there. That was 45 minutes of me getting up. and having a cold shower, right? So I'm actually mentally awake,
Oh no.
out of bed, hit the floor, crater. It's beautiful.
Oh no. That's a mistake right there. Not realizing that daylight savings time would affect that.
Oh, well, we do have it. It just happens on a different day.
Oh, gotcha.
It doesn't happen on Monday. They're kind that way. It happens on a Saturday or a Sunday, I believe, next week.
Oh, goodness. Well, that's great. Okay.
Okay, I'm okay.
Yeah. I texted him at like 2 minutes to 9. And I said, "Are you still planning on helping out?" And he's like, "I am if you are." Did I wake you up?
Yeah.
I am sorry.
It's okay. I said I would.
Oh man, that's funny. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about another mistake that I think is commonly made. And I think maybe you can agree with this. I think a mistake that's commonly made just in life in general is assuming that you know something about something that you definitely do not. Can you think of any examples in your life, whether it be you or someone you know, that thought they knew something about something they absolutely knew nothing about?
Let's see. Someone, they thought they knew something, but absolutely about. I'm gonna go with a dating story that I had back in the day. I totally know how to date, guys. All right, you ready for this?
Yes.
When I was 14, 15 years old, my father, he bought me a book called The Gentleman's Book, and in it there was various rules that were in it. So a gentleman always holds open the door for the lady. A gentleman always dresses as he's going to meet the love of his life, yada yada yada. And it was like a book about yay thick. It's got like 150 rules, and he hands me that and he goes, "Here, memorize this." Oh, okay. So one of the very first dates that I went on was when it was a trunk or treat kind of a deal. I had barely turned 16. I had no idea what I was doing. I walked to the girl's house, picked her up, and we kind of wandered around this trunk or treat. And in the book, and this whole time I'm referring back to this book. So a gentleman must always offer his arm. So I'm offering this arm, and I look like a half plucking chicken as I'm walking around, and she's not taking the arm, and I'm confused why it's not happening, right? Or a gentleman must always ask questions, and at one point during the night, she's like, "You ask a lot of questions. I'm really uncomfortable."
Oh.
So it was just building upon, and at the end of it was just a beautiful train wreck. Yeah, we're still good friends to this day, by the way.
Are you really? That is so great.
Look,
wow.
She figured out long ago that there was that was weird and puberty and whatnot. So I'm just gonna leave that there.
Oh man, that's great. That's a great story of thinking you know something you know nothing about.
Oh no, it's I still don't know everything.
Well, I mean, the biggest. Okay, so here's a story of something that I thought I knew a lot about. I was surrounded by a group of friends who all knew something. I mean, this is a stupid example, but they all knew this one TV show. And I don't remember what the TV show was for the life of me, but it was one I had never seen before in my life. Now, I mean, I had seen maybe clips of it here and there because I knew that my other friends watched it, but it wasn't something that I personally had actually watched. And so they're all sitting there having these conversations about it, and I just pretended to know what I was talking about. And for a while, I was able to BS my way through it because everyone else was saying things, and then I would just kind of repeat what someone else was saying. And then someone directed a specific question to me about the character in question. And I actually just remembered the TV show. The TV show was Charmed. Did you ever watch Charmed? That's okay. It's about three sister witches who get their powers after their grandmother died or something, and they didn't know that they were witches, and then they just learn all of this stuff. I've since watched the entire show.
The black talking cat, maybe?
No, that's Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay. There was witch in there somewhere.
Yes. No, this one's Charmed, and they were talking about Phoebe, who was one of the sisters in there, and they asked me a very specific question. I'm pretty sure they were trying to trick me into saying something, because at this point, like, all I was doing was repeating what someone else said and like kind of wording it differently, but totally just trying to play it up. I just wanted to seem cool. I just wanted to be part of the group. And so I was saying all these things, and they asked me a very specific question, and I BS my way through that answer, and it was so stupid, and it had nothing to do with the show. And then they're like, I knew you didn't know that show. And later on, my friend was like, you should have just been honest. We would have changed the subject. I was like, I will never be dishonest again. That was awful. I will never pretend to know something I don't. And so, I mean, that was a huge example from, like, such a stupid thing, but it was such a big, like, made such a big impact on me that I was just like, I'm not gonna lie anymore. Like, that's so stupid. And I mean, it wasn't like I was a dishonest person. I just, sometimes, to make myself seem cooler, I would pretend to know more about a subject than I really did, and it really came back to bite me in the butt. And a lot of those people had, lost a lot of respect for me, which was really sad. So now I try really, really hard to just be honest in everything. And it's not even a try. I'm really honest all the time. And sometimes that comes to bite me in the butt too. But it's better to be honest and have people hate you for telling them the truth than to be dishonest and have people hate you for saying something untrue. So I think that's a common mistake that people make, and a lesson that is very valuable to learn now.
I learned that if I am honest, I don't have to remember the story that I make up to it, and it's just easier that way. It doesn't put as much of a mental strain, like remembering where, who, what, and why, how did this happen. I had a time where I came home late, and my aunt, who I was living with at the time, she asked me stories about, or questioned the story of where I had been, and I had learned my story. I was good and I was confident, but the only catch was that she had watched the series Lied to Me. And in Lied to Me, they analyze and see if you're lying. And so the trick that she found there was, she goes, start in the middle and then stay it from there. And I wasn't prepared for that. So after a little bit of pampering, I got it. And then she's like, okay, recite it backwards. And that's how she caught me lying, and I was grounded. So.
Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
That I learned that honesty is just better. You don't have to remember the story.
That is great. Okay, the series Lie to Me is wonderful. I love that series.
I was so sad when they canceled it.
Right? And it was such a terrible, it was a cancellation. It wasn't even like it finished. Like, the story just, hung there.
Dead.
Yeah. Ugh. So tragic. So tragic. Okay, are there any other common mistakes? You, on your birthday, which is next week, are going to post lessons you've learned on Facebook. Would you say that you have any lessons you've learned that are common mistakes made, or mistakes that you've made frequently that you've learned are kind of stupid and you want to try and correct those mistakes? I put you on the spot.
Yeah. Words. Let's see. Common mistake that I want to. Okay, so this is in a combination of with me being lazy. If you have to scratch the frost off your window, it's probably not a good idea just to scratch the tiny hole that you need to actually drive, and then speed on the road where you just scratched your windows. Because if you have to scratch the windows, nobody scratched the road, right? So
Someone is at my house and the doorbell just rang. There you go. That's the audio.
I was wondering what you were summoning. Holy crap!
That is my magical powers.
Oh yes. Well, yeah, that was something that I really need to get a grip on and get a handle on, because that's happened more than once that I've, black ice and sliding around, but I've become an amazing drifter because of it.
Oh my gosh! Don't promote that kind of behavior.
I did promote that. I'm just saying that I learned from my mistakes. That's what I was saying.
Right. You were saying you haven't learned from your mistakes and now you're awesome at something very specific that is not safe. Ugh.
What?
I'm a worrier and you just made me worry more. Oh my goodness.
You know what? Now that the world knows that, I'm gonna have to change it.
This is true.
This is a deep, dark secret that you just made me tell.
Aha, I win.
Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? Couldn't put me on the spot. What about you?
What about me?
Yeah. What's your thing that you what's the thing that you need to work on as a common mistake? Yeah.
Laziness.
Oh well, that's pretty.
I think procrastination, more than being lazy, I procrastinate. That's one of the biggest reasons why that's why I spent so much on my ticket to get out there. That's why I didn't have my passport on time. I mean, procrastination. It was me double checking too late. It was me not setting aside enough money and then not being able to afford the ticket, and then it went up in price, and then finally just being like, all right, I have to buy it. Like, let's just get the stupid ticket out of the way. So I think procrastination is something that is huge. I procrastinate a lot. I procrastinate a lot.
Yes, also with your home, procrastinate.
What?
With your schoolwork, you procrastinate with that.
No, actually, that's one of the few things that I'm really, really good at not procrastinating.
That's what I did. I had to do an essay or a book analysis. I don't know what it was, but I had to sit there and I pounded out 42 pages worth of a work because I forgot it.
Did you say 42 pages?
Yeah, 42 pages worth.
Oh my gosh, that's so much.
Well, to be fair, they gave us 6 months to do that, so
Wow.
It was the night before.
That's definite procrastination. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay, so here is another question for you then. Do you have any specific things that you would give as advice to someone else struggling with, maybe a bad habit? Regardless of what that bad habit is, do you have any advice for someone who's maybe trying to get over a bad habit?
All right. What I've learned in research of trying to break my bad habits is that when you have a habit, you have certain, I'm going to say, pathways in your brains connected, right? So if my habit is to always procrastinate, there's a neuron firing back and forth that is supporting that habit. To break that habit, you're going to have to get another habit to replace said habit, right? That's a connection that's already been made. So if I want to stop procrastinating, I'm going to have make the habit of my stuff done early, and that way it's overriding basic pathway of what the old one was. So there's the sciencey part about it, and I would just say persistence. It only takes, I believe, was it 23? 24 did. Not sure. But if you hold that through like 24 days, then that habit is done. It's broken. It's not as hard as some people think, and it's just a combination of getting into the right environment. And so, for example, if you're an alcoholic and you're trying to break the habit of drinking, don't spend your nights at a bar. Like, you got to change your environment, right? Or if you're a smoker and you want to quit smoking, don't hang out with people who smoke. That's because they enforce your bad habit. That's my little bit of wisdom, my my half a century age of wisdom.
Quarter century. You're
Yeah.
you're gonna
Yeah.
be a quarter
Discussion last
century.
Oh man,
That make you feel old?
I am old.
No, you're not. I think I would 100% agree with you on that one. I think a huge factor in trying to get out of the mistakes and the habits that you've created for yourself is just simply to find something to replace them. We talked about this a little bit on my first episode, which unfortunately the audio is not working on YouTube, so a lot of people haven't been able to listen to it. But the first episode, we talked a lot about like breaking habits by setting goals to do something different. Whether it be, I mean, if you have a goal to lose weight, then your habit needs to be eat healthier and actually exercise. And you need to, I mean, yeah, your goal is to lose weight. Well, how are you going to do that? And so it's the same kind of thing. If your goal is to stop smoking or, stop drinking, or if your goal is to, write a book, what are you going to do to make that happen? And like, what mistakes are you going to avoid? And I think realizing what those mistakes are ahead of time, realizing what your habits are, realizing what your tendencies are beforehand, you can then set goals to actually change that.
Picasso made his first brush, make all of his works. Rome wasn't built in a day. All those cliches saying things, right? And take papers one at a time. All it is. The first step is realizing that there's a problem.
Yep, absolutely. I think you hit that right on the head. If you were to say the steps of getting over a habit that is a mistake in your life, what would you say the 5 steps to getting over that habit are?
5 steps? Okay. Well, let's see. Like we've already discussed, realizing there's a problem, removing oneself from the environment, and then I would say education. What is this? Why is it making me feel this way? Why am I doing the things that I'm doing? And get help if necessary with that. So it doesn't have to necessarily be a psychiatrist. It could be somebody who who is a friend and you talk to, or parent, or a trustworthy figure. I'm gonna say. Let's see, that's 3. 4 is setting goals. Is what I would say. Is celebrating success with those small goals. Like, huzzah! I've been, sober for 15 days. Right? That's sober for 15 days. Right?
That's a huge deal. Yeah.
The 5th one, I would say, is mental toughness. Right? And when I say mental toughness, I read a paper where a psychiatrist had said that if you make the conscious effort to say, I am going to I'm going to get through this day, then you renew certain chemicals in your brain that you. So it's like, I wish I could remember what he was saying. It's basically saying if you keep telling yourself over again that you're going to make it, you're going to actually get positive reinforcement, right? That's what I'm trying to say. So it's like you're having a crappy week and you're 3 days into your new resolution and you can't even handle it right now. You just say, hey, it is Wednesday and I'm going to make this until Saturday. And then you hit Saturday, you celebrate, and then you make a new resolution saying, hey, I'm going to make it to Wednesday, and then I'm going to make it to Saturday. And at that point, you're already 2 weeks in.
That's brilliant. I was actually having the same kind of conversation with a friend of mine last night. We were talking about just wanting to set a goal. He was talking about how he had set a goal to go on a new hike every week of the summer. That's a lot of weeks in a summer, but his goal was to go on a new hike every week. And I thought that was fantastic. And he said, yeah, but I set that goal and then never actually did anything. I didn't accomplish that goal. And I said, well, here's what you need to do. You need to say, okay, here's the deal. I need to go on a new hike every week. And my reward for that is, 1, I get to go with someone I care about. And 2, at the end, we're going to go get ice cream, or we're going to go get a burger, or whatever, like whatever it is. If your exciting thing is to go see a movie, it's like, all right, I'm going to go hiking, and then I'm going to go sit in a movie theater and watch a movie. Or, you know what, I'm going to go eat some ice cream because I worked off the calories. I'm going to put them right back on. Or, whatever it is, like whatever it is that makes you happy. If you have a goal and you set that, then the positive reinforcement really does satisfy that. A video that I want to recommend to you, I recommended it not last week, but 2 weeks ago in my podcast. It is Lilly Singh, aka II Superwoman II on YouTube. She is phenomenal. I love her, and she put out a video a couple weeks ago about 5 real ways to get work done. And one of the things was, I'm going to set you down for a second so I can actually kind of show you and the people on the podcast. But she said, all right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wake up in the morning. I'm going to read a book. I'm going to meditate for 20 minutes. I'm going to answer these 100 emails. I'm going to film a video. I'm going to edit a video. I'm going to post a video. And then I'm going to make sure I eat throughout the day. And at the end of the day, right before I go to bed, I'm going to sit down. I'm going to reflect through my day, make sure I accomplished everything, give myself a pat on the back and say, yes, I did it. And she lists off all these things. And then the last thing she does is she pats herself on the back and she says, all right, I did it. And that's how she starts her day too. As soon as she's done listing all these things, she does a clap, or she does a jump, or she does something that says, all right, let's go, whatever it is. And she just immediately moves forward with what she does. She does a compound action, a clap, a run, a jump, whatever it is. She does some sort of action to jumpstart her into the day. And then at the end of the day, she goes back, she reflects, and she pats herself on the back and says, good job, you did it. And she has, some lists that she keeps track of and everything too. And I just thought that was really, really cool. That very much impacted me. And I think that's another way, positive reinforcement every single day, to actually acknowledge that you did something good. And then to, like, even if it's just patting yourself on the back, immediately that's such a huge positive that's like, yes, I did it. And that's, again, immediately just such a good thing.
I would add that you have to set realistic goals. I can't be, I'm going to say, 400 pounds and go hiking every day, right? It'll be just fine if I actually walk down the street at that point. Like, you have to set realistic goals. I can't read I can't read Harvard paper and not understand half the words that he's saying, right? So it's like you have to set realistic goals. And you have to build on that, and once you build on that, then you're good to go, right? You just gotta. That's the only thing that I would add, as far as a realistic goal setting goes.
I agree. Okay, so I think we've kind of covered mistakes. I think we've talked a little bit about how to overcome mistakes. We've shared some funny stories about mistakes that we've both made in our lives. And we've talked a little bit about how to correct those mistakes. So I think that's all we're going to talk about today in this podcast. It is one of my shorter podcasts, but I think that it's been helpful. It's been helpful for me. Sorry we got off to kind of a rough start. I wasn't quite sure what we were going to talk about. I knew that I needed to share what was going on and kind of give you guys an update. And then I also really was hoping that Kevin would get on here, because I think this man is wonderful, and I'm so disappointed that I didn't get to go visit him myself. It was the plan to go, and it's very disappointing that I wasn't able to go. But we do have plans to go a little later in the year. It will happen, and I do have a vlog coming out for this week. Everything that I did to get ready for the trip, even though I didn't end up going, with the heartbreaking finish of having to cancel my flight. So You'll have to watch that podcast. It kind of, or not the podcast, that vlog. It's a whirlwind of emotions, definitely a roller coaster. But it'll go up on my Liv's Life channel probably tomorrow night. So go check that out there. All right, Kevin. I end every single one of these podcasts very specifically. There's one final question I ask you, and you have to answer it first, and then I answer on my end. But the question is, what is your weekly obsession? So to rephrase that, in the last week, what have you been most obsessed with?
Obsessed. Well, I don't know how this is going to come across, but my weekly obsession this last was travel destinations in Germany. That's what I was studying and looking up on 24/7 this last week.
I think
places to see, places to go.
Yeah. My weekly obsession was fairly similar. My weekly obsession was just Germany and Kevin, because I was really, really excited to go visit a friend I haven't actually seen in real life in a long time. We talk on Skype.
Actually, now that we're talking about it,
I feel like it's been at least 2 years.
Has it been 2 years already? Oh man.
Well, I mean,
we started this planning almost 11 months ago.
Yeah, it was 11 months ago.
Right? So, yep. Yeah.
The end of April 2015. So, and it's now the middle of March 2016. So that's almost an entire year. Just shy. So.
Oh, man.
Yeah, and it's been a while. It's been a long time. When was the last time you were in the States? I mean, that's when I would have seen you last.
Let's see. I left 2012?
No.
Oh, that's not 2013 maybe. Something like that.
I feel like it was the beginning of 14.
No, that's not right. That's not right at all. I left in November. Yeah, I left in November 2013. I started in at the church. Yeah, so it's been 2 years.
Do you realize that you and I had very little time to actually become friends then, before you moved?
You know what? That's okay. It's I think it's one of the strongest friendships that I have.
I would agree. I think
we don't need to be in the same room to have a friendship. We, at point, don't go talking to each other for weeks on end, and we just pick up right where we left off.
We really do.
Think that's amazing.
Yep. We will spend probably 3 solid hours plus on Skype when we get on there.
Yep.
And we really do. We pick up right where we left off, and that's one of the best things about this particular friendship. Kevin and I have become friends. We really didn't know each other for that long. Oops.
Yeah.
We really didn't know each other for that long. I mean, I moved into your area it was August 26th of 2013. So, I mean, that's when it was that I moved in.
And I left not soon after that.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but you went over to Germany, and then you did come back for a little while.
I did come back for a little bit. I was getting ready to move to Germany. So, I'm just gonna go ahead and tell them why I'm in Germany if you don't mind.
Go for it.
I decided that school is expensive in America, and I can't afford it, so I went to Germany instead. I had finished my coding and design degree at the ATC, at the Ogden ATC, and I had 2 freelance jobs, and then the money ran out. And those jobs allowed me to pay off most of my school, and then that was that. Like, there was no jobs to be had anywhere, and I was not ready to move clear across the country. I say clear across the country. I was going to go to California, but I was not ready to move out. So I ended up having to work at some place, minimum wage, whatnot, and then I decided that I want to do something different. So I came to Germany, and now I am learning how to do German bakery stuff. It's a job here and a history that's part of the culture that's been here for roughly 150 years. So there's a lot of experience in that, and most people don't do it with their hands anymore. So I was very fortunate to find a spot that allows me to do that. Yeah, that's what I do. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and I go work.
Yuck.
So people have their bread in the morning.
Oh, man. And
so
that...
my plug wasn't that bad. I actually got to sleep in a little bit.
Oh, goodness. But you are on vacation. You should be getting sleep.
You know what? Sleep is for the weak. I told you this last night.
Oh, man. All right, Kevin. Well, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I'm going to end it. So if you want to hold on for a second, then we can talk for a minute when I'm done here. But I'm going to set you aside so that I can finish this up. So I just want to thank you all so much for joining us for this podcast. I know it's been a little bit weird. Yes, my special guest was over Skype, and I hope you were able to hear it. My monitor says that it was picking up the audio, so I hope it was really good. I hope you got some valuable information from this. Sorry it started out kind of weird. That's just how some of these podcasts are. I'm never quite sure what's going to happen. Every single one of these podcasts is always a little bit of a, what's going to happen as we go in. It's definitely conversation. It's not an interview. I hate the idea of not being able to just have a conversation with people that I care about and learning things and discussing things. So like I said at the beginning, that's what I did this podcast for, was for me to be able to just spend an hour with my friends talking about something that I can learn more about, maybe something I'm passionate about or my friend is passionate about, or whoever it is that's sharing this moment with me. It's something that I care about so much and something that I am excited to be able to share with you. And I am so grateful that you all decided to join me for this. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. If you liked this podcast, please click the like button down below. It does help me get more views. It helps people come and see this channel. I would love to have more people watching this podcast. Definitely comment. Tell me below what your weekly obsession is. Maybe tell me some of the mistakes that are commonly made just in life in general, and maybe some travel faux pas that you've had over the years. I have never really traveled outside of the country ever, and so this was the first time that I was experiencing this, and I unfortunately made some pretty big mistakes and procrastinated enough that it was kind of sad for me. But the plan is to go. It'll just be a little bit later, and I will make sure that these faux pas do not happen again. So that's kind of the reason for this podcast. Please make sure to subscribe, like this podcast, and then share it with people, because it really does mean a lot when I get people watching and telling me what they think. Also, comment below. Tell me what you want the topics to be in the future. I have the next 2 podcasts planned out, and after that, I don't quite know what I'm going to talk about. So if you guys give me suggestions, your suggestion might be our topic for the next week. Also, don't forget to follow me on all of my social medias. I'm on Facebook and Twitter as Livy Dawn. You can follow this particular podcast, Liv's Library Podcast, on Twitter. You can follow me on all the social medias. If you want to follow me on Snapchat, you see a little bit of my day every single day, and I try and post at least one positive, uplifting message on Snapchat every single day. It's Livy Dawn. So just go ahead and follow me there if you want to. Again, thanks so much for following me. Thanks so much for listening and watching this. And remember to smile, stay beautiful, and know that I love ya. Mwah!